In my club stuff. Oh, we got, call the meeting to order.
Hold on.
Let's record it and do that. Got it?
Now you should be able to call the meeting to order.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right. So, do we have any updates on the agenda?
I would like to add a Brighton Rec update and an executive session for personnel issues.
All right, any,
I don't know if it's an update or other business, but I have a couple questions. One regarding mowing for this year and two regarding our green dump truck. If that'd be other business or,
your green dump truck? Oh, the dump truck.
yeah. Yeah,
If
I
you
don't
need a,
know.
if you need a motion, if you need a motion from somebody, it should probably be an update.
Okay, so green truck.
okay.
And what was the other one? That's
Mowing,
Mowing.
that'll come up in other business?
No, it's,
For adding.
I don't know, is that
agenda
something
or
that
other
needs a
business?
motion?
They probably both do, yeah.
Okay, so that'll come, that's an update. All right, so any public comment? Nothing? I don't,
Okay.
labor relations. I don't think we're,
Right, I thought Noah might be here to bring the board up to date on what's going on there, so, but
okay. All right, so let's go then to the, Brighton Rec.
Okay,
Mm.
so just as a update on some of the things we've been doing, we did have the pickleball thing this weekend. It was pretty well attended. But upcoming, we have Pondathon. Pondathon this year will be on the 1st of September because that is the Sunday. For that, we're pretty well into the planning. But we are going to need to close off Main Street past like at sunrise and beyond. Obviously, sunrise people can come in and leave. But we had some major issues last year with traffic because of people trying to get down there to pick up bicycles, drop off people and all those things. And we weren't sure what we needed to do to get permission to close that off, other than beyond obviously notifying anybody in there that will be closing it to through traffic for safety reasons. And we are still looking for, I believe we need a couple of volunteers to help with the road crossings, but I think I've got almost all of the other volunteer positions filled up. Yeah, so that's gonna be a fun event. Always
Okay.
is.
All right, so do you need to, do we have to have a motion to close the, no, or just give permission, right?
I'm
To
sorry,
close it-
what
I'm
road
sorry,
was
to
it?
close Main Street.
It, Main Street just beyond Sunrise Manor.
Oh.
So it's not out here.
Yeah.
Like, it's like from where the parking lot ends and back. So we don't have people trying to come in when there's 200, because like last year, I think the total was well over 170.
Yeah.
Alright, awesome.
Close to 180 with bicycles and kids. And if people are trying to get down there during it, it's just an accident waiting to happen. So we talked about it last year. We said we'd like to close off the
Okay.
road
All right,
to any traffic going beyond Sunrise to help reduce that issue.
so you'll just put up some cones and I guess.
Put up some cones and
Yeah.
those little lovely chains and have somebody there to
Yep.
let people that need to go in and out in, and we will send a letter to Sunrise, and I've got to reach out to Melinda and see if she can distribute it to the people there, or if there's some way to get mailing addresses for everybody that lives in that building so that they know well in advance.
Yeah.
That we will be doing that. Generally speaking, the group, it's a big group, but we let it go in two waves, the bicycles and then the runners and obviously the walkers. By the time they hit Pleasant Street, they're pretty well out into a one lane for crossing that street. So it's maybe 15 minutes total that you need to help people across that street there, but and then we've got the police arrangements for off Lakeshore Drive, because that's a hairy intersection. We may need to reach out to the road crew this year to see if we can borrow some road cones, because we do not have the in the state that we've had in the past to get cones from them. But that's all we need on that.
All right, so we are at the green truck.
All right, yeah, so the green truck. The green truck is the reason we bought the new truck, because it's an electrical nightmare. And I am just curious, now that we have our new truck, what you all want to do with the green truck?
Don't we normally sell them off?
We just sell them, right?
Yeah.
How have you been doing that, Andy? Haven't you just been putting like out front on the sale? How's that been working for us the last couple trucks?
Well, typically, yeah, what we do is we put it out there and we put a sign in the window that says for sale, sealed bid. So they have to come up and give a sealed bid. The select board picks a date on when you're gonna open all the sealed bids. And lowest bidder gets it. Last time we sold the truck, there was no bids. And then we had Billy just make an offer and they bought it. This truck, I don't think we're gonna get a lot for it. The last time, 2.5 years ago, the dealership told us it needed $15,000 worth of work, and we opted out of doing anything with it.
Was any grant funds used to purchase it?
Not on the green one. Oh, well, then again, it was 2013, so I couldn't tell you what was used to purchase it.
I think, yeah.
Andy, not worth anything, parts, trucks, as body or.
Well, I think that, put a for sale sign on it. Why not?
Do we usually advertise sealed bids and things like that?
Well, not, it depends. When there's something of little value, what's the point of having a termination date? You know, it's like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, just put it
Wow.
out there. You're
Just
not
put for sale
likely to
sign
get
up.
bids on these things, so. I agree, just put a for sale sign on it, but
Yeah.
as is.
As is, and,
As is where is, good luck getting it home.
but, how much should we have a price for it, or?
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make. I mean, the two options I could think of was one, put it on the front lawn for sale and just see who offers us anything, really. The other one was the body on the back has a couple of big rot holes inside of it. So I was gonna, if we couldn't sell it, I was gonna rip the body off and mount the chloride tank to it, and that was gonna be the permanent chloride truck until it doesn't run anymore. But I'm all for getting it out of the yard. So I don't know what the price should be. I know Clark's, when we talked to them about buying a new truck, they were gonna give us, I think it was like, $7,000 or $12,000 for it. It was in the quote that they gave us, and I don't have it.
Well,
What
let's
year
put a
is
price
it?
of $7,000.
Well, hold on, what year is it?
2013.
They have a
So it's a
blue book
13,
value on that by
And
any
it's a
chance?
Freightliner. I was gonna look up I was gonna look and see if there's an NADA value on it. I can probably take me a minute and a half to look that up.
I was gonna ask what its fair market value.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, 2 years ago, that was between 7 and 12, so that
Right,
was 2 years ago.
and I would assume that bottomed out. I mean, I
Well,
could be
yeah,
wrong, but,
You'd be
Right.
surprised.
yeah, trucks are hard to find.
well, I'll tell you what, when the town of,
Freightliner?
no, it's international. When the town of Charlotte, their town garage burnt down.
Mhm.
And they lost all their trucks and everything. I called them up, I reached out to them and offered them that truck. Because they had nothing. And the guy and I, he was all for it. He was coming up to look at it and we started talking about it. He asked what engine was in it and I told him it was the Max Force. And he said, okay, never mind, I'm all set.
I mean, Are there any towns that happen to have gotten their garages wiped out in this last fiasco that might be desperate enough for
I
one?
say put a for sale sign on it and whatever.
I think we need to find
Yeah,
out
I
what the
think so too.
base value
You know,
is of
it's
it
like-
though.
You know, another option I just thought of, I mean, we can put a for sale sign on it and throw it out for however much you all decide.
Yeah,
The other option is we could see if maybe the diesel program out at the high school wants it as a donation to, you know, to have the kids learn on or something. I don't know what it's, maybe it's worth more than that. I couldn't tell you.
well, let's put for sale sign on and see what happens.
Okay,
And then you don't sell it, then we'll park it at Pierce.
How about putting an ad in the Chronicle for 1 week?
What?
1 week, an ad in the Chronicle for sale. I don't know. I mean, you know,
I don't know.
Gets the word out,
It wouldn't
it's just,
hurt.
you know, the cost of
Yeah,
advertising.
it's cost of advertising.
Say you could do a press release for free. Hey, come look at this. But I don't know if that qualifies as a press release.
yeah. I
Um,
can
they're-
reach
They
out.
could go on the website,
pretty
they
cheap.
could go on the Facebook page for the town.
There you go.
yeah, we throw it on Facebook.
Put a for
Because
sale
that
sign
gets,
on
that
and on
gets most
Facebook.
of the, I mean, I think most of the locals keep an eye on that anyway.
Yeah,
And I don't think we'd go wrong with, say, you know, whatever the fair market value is, you know, our best estimation. That on the for sale and or best offer.
Does it run?
It runs, we use it for chloride.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you're saying electrical issues.
Yeah, the dash doesn't work, none of the dash works at all. And
Gonna be inspected.
turbo issue, no, it can't be
Well,
inspected.
there you go. You can't sell it. It can't be inspected. Good luck.
Yeah, you can.
Sell it.
Sometimes you can.
Yeah, if it's a private landowner, like somebody wanted to use in their pit just to move.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, we can advertise it to a couple farmers, Keith
Sure.
Gray, Ted Tapp, they can run it on the farm.
Or- Exactly.
Um,
I ended up having to do that.
If you advertise it, the Caledonia Record is the paper of record for the town, so, and they're cheap. I mean, you could run a little block ad for next to nothing in there. You might
But I
as well
would-
hit
I
all the papers if you're gonna hit any of them.
I would just honestly go with Facebook and see how that goes for the first 2 weeks. I mean,
Right.
2 weeks or 3 weeks for the next meeting. And see what we get for offers and if somebody comes in, I mean,
well, the first thing they're gonna ask is how much, so we kind of have to have a price.
I was gonna say, we need to establish a price, and
yeah, I mean, Noah can call up International and ask them, he can give them the VIN number and they can tell him how much it's worth.
can do that. Tonight.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna need a motion for that. Got it? Anybody want to make that
A
motion?
motion allowing the town to sell the green dump truck.
Yep.
For advertisement at fair market value or best offer.
Once value is determined, right?
Right,
Good.
okay,
I'll second.
all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, so should I expect Noah to reach out to me and tell me when he finds out how much the price is so I can park it on the lawn? Okay,
So now what colors are we?
what color is what?
Are our trucks?
Our two trucks that we run every day are the same color, they're dark gray. We still have the red truck, that's gonna be our chloride truck,
so this is the 2013 one, right? Is that what you said? the year
that's right,
was?
yeah.
Okay. So he's
Red,
got the
green,
VIN
red.
number and everything, right? Yeah, he does, okay.
And the other,
Of the mowing.
yeah, the mowing, so with this past week's flooding, we're gonna be over on a lot of budget items until FEMA kicks in, we're gonna be over on culverts, contracted services, a lot of stuff. So, that being said, I know roadside mowing is supposed to happen like in another week or two. Is that something that we still want to contract out or do we skip it this year? I mean, I know we're just gonna be so far over on budget. So I'm just nervous on what next step is.
the budget Was it for a contracted service or?
That's correct.
Okay,
So the contracted service budget this year was $15,000. We already cut back on getting the storm drains cleaned out because we didn't have enough money. So, we hired Dylan Orpeza and we hired Micaiah and Zach Maxwell to help us with our road situation, this past week. So I know those bills are gonna be coming in right off, and I would imagine that between the two of them, it's gonna be somewhere in the neighborhood of $30,000 to $40,000.
And it's going to take us probably a year to get that money back,
That's right.
Yeah.
but eventually we will get it back.
Right.
But the,
Problem is we don't have the
How do we
money
get from there?
to
Right.
pay someone. to
Can that fall into the infrastructure? The infrastructure reserve fund, that's not considered infrastructure.
Unnecessary.
I mean,
It's maintenance.
we repaired a lot of our infrastructure, culverts,
Right,
roads,
yeah, but-
stuff like that,
Yeah,
but
but that's.
Probably those fees could fall into there,
You think so?
because that's infrastructure. I mean,
Well,
I
if you're getting
know.
FEMA money, why would you bother us using town money?
well, we have to use some money to pay bills and then wait for FEMA money to come back. We don't already have.
Well, yeah, okay, so it's a question of where you draw the money from before you
That's right,
you get
right.
reimbursed, I see.
That's what I was thinking, especially the two contracted services.
Yeah,
I wouldn't pull those from contracted services. I mean, well to put it there, but you have to cover it with somewhere else because that's just
Right.
the way it goes.
well, I'm gonna bill it. I'm gonna code those bills when they come in. Those
Yep,
are gonna
right.
get coded as contracted services.
Right,
That
right.
budget is gonna look like it's blown.
But we have an explanation, which is.
Right, and I know
Oh,
that,
yeah,
but
well,
explanation aside, we still have to find the money.
That's
Right.
right.
I know that our police fees are coming in much lower than projected.
Yeah.
So we have some extra wiggle room from that line.
You can't mess with that yet.
Use
The
it.
guy
Yeah.
just ordered signs at the last meeting that haven't been
Yeah.
paid for yet.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a little wiggle room there.
We tried to get, yeah, I think we're using a lot of wiggle room from a lot of.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is the consequences of not mowing?
That's what I'm thinking, is it?
What happens if
I
you
mean,
don't mow?
Well, it's gonna be worse.
I'm gonna have 1.5 million phone calls about why the roadsides didn't get mowed this year. I have on average, if one street gets missed, for example, between Forest Street and North Street, that tiny little section right there, it's probably 150 feet long. I probably had 17 phone calls on that last year because it was missed.
I guess I'm the kind of person who, if I have an issue with the ditch in front of my house, I'm gonna go out and weed whack it.
Well, exactly.
Well, are there any citizen safety concerns?
There will be
As
a
far as-
few, a few intersections are grown up that usually get mowed down that it's hard to see around,
Right, okay.
when you're pulling up to them. Which is just a trickling effect that leads into winter time, and the same thing. Those.
What is the cost of the mowing?
Usually it's around $10,000. I can scale it back I can tell him that he's only got 40 hours, which would be $4,000. But then you have to prioritize which streets you want mowed.
Right.
It's just,
Primary concern are those safety
Yeah, I would.
locations, the intersections.
Do the,
right, so,
We're talking 10,000 to 20,000 possibly, or
no,
is
it's
it
10,000.
10,000?
I cut him off every year at 10,000.
Okay,
So typically, and this goes back to the brush hogging, right? So typically we spend $6,000, roughly 6,500, 7,000, somewhere in there, to mow the roadsides. And then I have him go out and pick a road that needs to be brushed back, and we brush it back, get our right of way open back up. And I cut him off at 10,000 every year. So we rented that roadside mower to get all of our streets brushed back. So that way I could keep him within that $6,000 to $7,000 range for the future. It saves $3,000 to $4,000 every year after this year. That was the idea behind renting that machine. Because most of that is already done and brushed, it won't be 10,000 this year from him. It will be roughly 6,000 to 7,000. And again, you know, if we just go around and do intersections that are the safety concerns, I could probably be somewhere in the $3,000 to $4,000 range, and it's going to be way more time than mowing because
Right.
he's got to jump around
That's right.
so often.
Yeah.
You know? And then not only you at the store, but everybody else is going to get the questions. Well, how come they didn't mow around the lake? We walk around the lake every day. Well, how come they didn't mow my street? You know,
Yeah.
it's just so if we're not going to do it, we're not going to do it, and we have an explanation for it. We got flooded. We don't have money. But if we're going to do parts of it,
We still have to have an explanation.
we
which
just
is-
have to have an explanation.
Yeah, why were they done and ours wasn't done?
Right.
Can we get Noah to give us where we could potentially pull up to $10,000 from to pay for this?
We can ask him.
Figure out where the, I hate using the term wiggle room is, but,
Where the cookie jars hidden?
Where? Too many.
this is something, yes, it was budget, was in the budget, however, the
Well, things happen.
last flooding happened and
Right.
funding got diverted, or not funding. but
All right, so,
Priorities were.
Priorities change.
so what are we gonna,
When is the date that you were doing that?
I don't have a solid date because he calls me like 2 or 3 days before and he says, hey, I'm done with this town. Do you guys want to be next?
oh,
That's how that usually
So
works.
we probably have Noah's out right now. We have time till he gets back. I think he's back Monday.
yeah. So,
So have him get these numbers.
Yeah, I can call Dave and find out how far out he is. I know he's in Charleston right now. And then I think he was planning on coming here after Charleston. He's been in Charleston for 2 weeks or better. So, I mean, I can call him and find out where he's at and see.
Go to Norton first.
He doesn't do Norton.
Just kidding.
Yeah,
Send to the next town over first.
yeah. Yeah, if we don't get it when it's available, we'll be
Right.
the last ones on the schedule and it will be October
Yeah.
before he's here. And it's might as well avoid it altogether. And while we're in this conversation, we could potentially save more of this roadside mowing money in the future by investing in our own little ditch and bank mower for the back of our little tractor. It's just.
Kind of what I was wondering.
It's a little flail mower that shoots off to the side and you can just get the roadsides. And it doesn't do as far into the roadside, but it does do,
Enough to be
Right.
sufficient.
Shoulders, yeah.
right. And I got and around the lake could be done more than once a year. I got a price for one of those a couple months back and I'm pretty sure it was like $7,000, like the price of 1 year's roadside mowing. We probably can't do all of what we normally would do, but we'd be able to,
Healthy den.
yeah.
It almost seems like a no-brainer to look at least.
Well, come budget time, it'd
No,
be
we'll
something to think
talk
about.
about it, but
Make sure you get that, get those numbers
Yeah.
We need to.
to Noah for that.
Right,
So for
Let's remember
this
that.
specific
More that's
instance,
not-
though,
yeah.
we're gonna task,
To do the job, so let's remember that.
Noah to find out where we can pull this money.
That's right.
Okay.
Got that.
All right.
Lisa.
Teresa,
How quickly
I
can
ask
you?
you-
I'm
Can
sorry,
I
go ahead.
ask you a question? Go ahead, Joel. I'm sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Mike. I was just
No, no,
wondering,
go
how
ahead,
quickly
Joel.
can you acquire this machine?
One of those ditch and bank mowers?
Yeah,
I would have to talk to Aaron, the guy at Champlain that can order it for me. I'm not sure. I would imagine probably within a few weeks.
well, if you bought it, could you just use that to mow the thing and avoid contracting with somebody else?
We could to an extent. I mean, like I said, that's just gonna hold us over. It'd be less contract work. You wouldn't be able to reach over the guardrails and get stuff like that. You wouldn't be able to reach down into the ditch and get stuff that's further down. You'd be able to get the basic stuff, which would do quite a bit.
I'd be curious to see what
I guess the question
percentage
is,
we could do.
Wouldn't that say, I mean, if we're gonna cut, the contract service this year anyway, what, are they gonna do any more than what this mower could do? I mean, it just seems like, I mean, if you could invest into a piece of equipment you could use going forward, would make more sense than contracting it and then buying a piece of equipment.
Right, and that's why I mentioned buying the piece of equipment next year and budgeting for it instead of just spending. If we budgeted for it, we'd know we have it. And then, of course, the contracted services, those mowers, as you know, are on a boom, right? So there are a lot of things, like I said, over the guardrails, those trees right there, there's a lot of different things that machine can and will do that we will not be able to with what I'm talking about.
Right, but would that get us through this year is what the point is. I mean, would it clear up the intersections that are?
Oh, of course, I think it would clear up the intersections. Yeah, I think it would clear up the things that we need to have cleared up, the most, the critical parts. I'm pretty sure it would do 90% of it. The question with that now is time, right? I mean, I know right now we're busier than we've ever been, trying to get everything back to normal and keep track of everything for FEMA. It's just, can we spare a guy is the question at this point in time.
It's just a thought. I mean, we do have an equipment fund though, as well.
The equipment budget, I believe, is spent. We had to replace the V plow. Oh, the reserve, sorry.
Reserves. But then we would still have to contract
I
out
think when it goes to the,
people
well,
again.
not all of it,
to do
part
the
of it
other-
goes to the dump truck, but not
And then
all.
again, what's that?
The equipment reserve fund, part of that is pledged to the dump truck to make up the difference between the loan, the grant, and whatever we had to pay. But I don't think it took everything we put in there for this year.
I mean, I think what we need to do from that perspective is take a look at what we do mow through contract and see what percentage of it we could eliminate with that piece of equipment and get us the price on the equipment for next year. I think jumping the gun and doing that this year, you guys are maxed out already.
And as Andy was saying, this machine won't do everything. So now we have to contract this guy
Right,
again. And like you said, now there's jumping around
right.
because he's got to go here and then he's got to go there and this and this. So now it's going to be a lot of travel time. So
Right.
Sounds like we just need a forest fire.
The only drawback to that thing you're talking about is the reach and the depth.
that's right.
Right, yeah, it does,
I know what you mean.
yeah, it swings out to the side and it
Right.
angles down and it angles up.
Right.
It's limited.
But he can reach further and go deep.
That's right.
Can't
So-
quite go like that with a smaller.
So we're gonna be looking for monies in order to do this. Question, Teresa, I don't know if I'm talking to the right person. We still got monies that's sitting up here collecting dust. We still own that server that we're not using? We still own that. That's a $10,000 piece of equipment sitting up here, being used as a paperweight. Why don't we concentrate somewhere, someplace to go sell this thing back?
I think they have.
They have.
Yeah.
They have.
Right.
where's that money and what?
Well,
What amount?
they haven't,
Nobody's
they're
wanted to buy
looking-
it.
They're looking
No,
at
but yeah,
it.
they're looking for somebody to buy it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it hasn't been sold. Okay.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
Maybe we ought to push that
Yeah,
and get some money back in here so that'll ease a little of the pain.
Yeah.
But that's something that maybe we should push to get rid of. That was a $10,000 mistake.
Yeah, 'cause that's
And we
been
need to
something-
get what we can out of it, which would simplify a little bit of this issue that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So why don't we make that a priority to get rid of this piece of equipment instead of waiting for somebody to just come up and make an offer? Let's
Well-
put it out on the table. Let's get rid of this.
It's not a piece of equipment that just anybody comes in.
Exactly, but sitting in a corner collecting dust doesn't
Well, I don't,
advertise it either.
they are
Pursuing.
pursuing it, like.
Well,
We haven't finished discussing the mowing yet.
yeah,
Let's finish that discussion, then we can
well,
go.
whatever. I'm just saying, we're looking for
Yeah.
monies.
True.
Okay,
It's,
so, all right. So are we gonna make any motion on this tonight, or what are we doing on this?
I think we see if we can hold off on the mowing.
You're gonna find out when he wants to mow.
I'm gonna call Dave tomorrow morning
Okay.
and find out
All right.
exactly when he thinks he's gonna be here.
And Noah's out for a reason and he should be able to He'll be back Monday and can probably get us those numbers.
Yep.
Or where to get those numbers from, I should say.
He needs to do some analysis more, because there's another bill, from what you said, from Dylan and M3.
Oh, yeah, that's FEMA, yeah, that's going under contract.
Right.
They're saying if they're gonna get paid, we're gonna have, so Noah has two parts, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
well, no, I think she's got it written down.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess there's, yeah, I think there, okay.
Did you have something, Greg? And it sounds.
No, I was ready to go back to what Mike was talking about. And let's put an advertisement out for that server.
I believe it has been advertised.
Okay,
It's one of those specialty, you gotta,
Yeah.
right.
like, you're not gonna buy it, he's not gonna
Yeah,
buy
yeah,
it.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you
Um,
can't
I
return
have a
it.
server and I'm not paying
Yeah.
$10,000 for it.
Is there,
I wonder if we could advertise. I know people internationally who may be interested in our.
So, all right,
does the state have an IT contract? Do we know of, or here's my thought process, is many states have an IT contract and municipalities generally jump on that contract.
Right.
With that department, is it possible to reach out to them and say, Eric, here is what we have. Do you know of any municipalities that are, pushing for this, and see if they may be interested in it?
I wonder if it's specific to municipalities, or maybe it can be, crossed with some other.
It could be, yeah.
It's all about compatibility.
Right.
What it's about, and then you need to look into that before you start buying stuff, whether it's compatible or not to what you're actually doing for a function.
Right, but if we
And
can,
that's where we made our mistake.
right, but if
Oh,
we
we,
can,
we
No,
actually, we
no,
didn't,
no,
it was
no,
not
that's
the town's
not
mistake
true.
on that.
that's.
It was not the town's mistake on that. We were informed by the assessor that this is the equipment we needed to install their software. And in the meantime, between when we signed the contract with them and when we actually started working with them, they came out with a cloud-based version, so we didn't even need the server anymore. But they told us we had to buy it.
It was not us buying
Yeah.
It was
something
not
that
us just
wasn't at the
picking out
time.
something wrong. It
And they
was-
refused to take it back.
They,
Water over the
they-
bridge.
Buy from them,
was in
Water
contact
over
with
the bridge.
yeah.
Excellent.
There's
Right.
nothing, right.
All
we can do.
Now it's up to the buyer responsibility to say, okay, we'll buy it or we won't buy it. It's up to them to figure out compatibility.
right, well, I'm sure I have a list at the shop, and we can get right on the website for the state and look at all their contracts. There's an IT section that we might be able to reach out to. And
Well, that's for purchasing mostly, I think, but there is a place called Central Surplus that
That's right.
carries salvage equipment. I mean, that's a good idea. I think contact them and see if they could do something for us.
Another task for Noah.
Down in Montpelier, north of Montpelier is where the facility is, and they do have a lot of stuff.
Yes,
yeah, they got anywhere from desks to graders.
Maybe somebody
what
got.
did you say?
Yeah,
Yes, I thought you said.
You can buy desks
Dead
online.
bodies over there. Okay,
yeah, they do.
okay, so we are now at, let's pay orders, and we'll do, yeah. Look over the budget.
In the budget, the last couple pages with a lot of writing on them is, like the general expense other. The last 2 to 3 pages, the very last page is really nothing, but the last 2 pages before that, the bottom section says general expense other. And then,
It's 5.
yes, sir. And then page 6 especially. There's a lot of things on page six that seem like they're, to me, it seems like they're charities. Is this money that we've already spent and given to these? Is there a reason we give to these places?
That's what
That
they
is,
voted
that
on
is what
at the-
they voters voted on.
Yeah.
And unless somebody goes and asks to specifically remove it,
It stays
it
on.
stays there until the entity no longer accepts money.
Which one is he?
So which
talking
ones are
about?
you talking
All
about?
of these right here.
All of those.
On page
I think
six.
actually the
And
page
who
and a half.
voted, who voted these?
Voters,
Yes,
all the
voters.
voters.
The town did, town
Yes.
voters did?
So like
That was on
somebody
the-
comes in and says,
You voted for that. right?
I
hi,
did?
You did. You
like
voted for the
last
budget.
year, somebody came, not last year, the year before, somebody came in with a petition for, farm to school,
The
right?
farm to school thing.
So they
right.
asked for $1,000. It goes on there, it stays there forever once it's approved. Until they
So-
say no longer exists, or
You're-
somebody got, yes.
The actual process we use.
Some of
I'm
that,
sorry.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, we can't without voter approval.
Go ahead, Joe.
The actual process we use is that when appropriation request comes in, if it's signed by the adequate number of signatures as a petition. If it's signed by enough people, then the board will put it on as an article on the warning for the town meeting, and then it'll get voted on from the floor. And if it passes from the floor, from that time on, it's put in the budget automatically. Until, as some Heather said, till you take it out, but I don't know if
So
I've never heard
tell
of
me-
anybody taking anything out. Not all these items are, by the way, appropriations like that. Some of them are just lake protection is something the town put in, state
Right,
property
lake
tax.
protection, I understand, but
Yeah.
there's a lot that aren't like that. And if you calculate all these up, I did it
Big
once,
number.
it's right around $27,500.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
just assume if I feel like donating to a charity, I do it out of my wallet, not my taxes.
So I mean,
So
like the
what-
big ones, like lake protection, you want that.
But the
Yeah,
lake
that's-
protection,
that's
we're not
the
talking
town,
about.
that's not an appropriation.
Right, we're not talking about that.
Oh, okay.
Every
But-
town
Yeah.
faces the
That is,
same
that
issue.
was an appropriate, that was an appropriation too.
Yeah, that's what I
So-
thought, because that's where it is.
So what does it take to remove them? Besides, bring it up from the floor and see if the voters want it at the next town meeting?
Yep.
All right,
I don't think the voters really understand this list. I don't
I
think
don't
they
think so
actually
either.
look at this.
I don't either.
You know, if they did, they put a hold to it, but myself, I go to the town meetings and I can't remember voting on every one of these individual items. I really.
No, you
Some
don't.
of them have been
You
over
don't.
years.
To pass your budget, that's.
That's in the budget, so see, well, that's just it. Nobody actually really.
Yes, when you get your town
Hey, look at-
report, it's all. listed.
So what kind of,
Bottom
what
line.
kind of business are you talking now before you go to a town meeting and warrant all this?
No, at the town meeting, somebody stands up and says,
I
we're gonna
wanna
go
get
through
rid
this item
of-
by item.
Correct.
I wanna bring up from the floor to remove this one.
Okay.
Such and such.
And it
is
wouldn't
done.
be one of, it would have to be.
It
like-
can't be one of us.
Maybe a select,
No.
I understand that. Well, maybe that's something that. 'cause
That's what I'm waiting for, is to get a house to
Yeah.
do that. I'm like,
Well, again, that's water over the door too, so we can't do nothing until
You better have a good moderator, because that's gonna take,
a long time.
every single one has to be motioned,
Yep.
approved, and if there's disgruntlement, then it's gotta go back. I mean, there's a process.
yeah,
Yep.
that's why, yeah.
I mean it.
Well, I think early advertisement, early information to the voters of the town,
Those-
3 or 4 select board meetings to review the budget and talk about these items. If these are on the budget for 2025, and it's up to the townspeople to say yes or no on these items. So the earlier we talk about this, it's not okay, it's February 27th, we're having a town meeting, here you go, we need to vote on this.
But we've always done that. I mean,
Yeah.
they're always at a warning.
Doesn't mean it's right.
We worked on the budget
No,
for
no, no,
months
we've always
before the budget.
discussed the budget in meetings.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, sorry.
And you should look, if you want to know what some of these organizations do, most of them file a report that's in the annual town report as to how they serve the town.
So there's a couple on here that personally that irk me, like, that say, yeah, we're not coming out to your town to do anything because you just don't have enough people here, but we'll take $2,000.
That's the food.
Yep,
The food.
that's that's the farm to school group and that whole group.
Yeah, they did do quite a bit, if I remember correctly, for a year or two.
Right, they were down here, but now they don't.
And then they asked for a donation and we haven't seen them since.
Right, and when I went to them and asked them specifically as a voter, when they're coming back here, their response to me was that we didn't have the population to warrant the surface here. And I got really, really angry. And then I found out I couldn't circulate a
So,
petition and take it off because I was on the board.
Okay.
I can circulate that petition.
I will work with
And
you
I
on
will-
that.
I will, yes.
I will
Because you-
absolutely work
I
on that.
mean, it's ridiculous that they would even ask. Okay,
So did you get 10,000 from the school or 20,000? Here we have budget report.
we are at budget report after Mike is done signing. Yeah, are you done
Nah,
signing?
there's nothing.
I haven't seen
Hasn't made it.
Usually
yet.
ask Teresa.
Sure. We need to get you a new shirt.
Oh, I like.
That's the old shirt. You need the modern new color.
No, I don't. I like this. It's comfortable.
Okay, well, yeah, that's it.
It is.
I mean,
It's one of your better shirts.
yeah, well, I guess it's lasted a long time.
You know?
That's probably like 20 years.
That's why I don't wear shirts that have years on it,
That does have a year.
because I don't want anyone to know how old my shirts are.
Oh.
Reading glasses, do you need them?
Nope.
I saw you do this.
Yep.
Before I got my bifocals, I used to give Teresa crap about that. I'm like, yeah, no, I need larger fonts than that.
It-
With labor relations, we're gonna be we're cabling that until the next meeting for
Yep.
Yes,
Noah to
that's right.
discuss. Okay.
That and the, mowing. Any discussion on the budget?
What percentage of the year are we through? 40?
A little 50.
A little over 50?
Yeah, that makes sense for July.
Well, I didn't know what day this was because the other night it was.
Oh, yeah,
40.
you're right.
Other report I had.
What's the equipment purchase for $251,000 when we budgeted 10?
Oh, we have a grader payment that was in
No, the
there.
greater payment isn't in that one.
Oh, it's not?
No. Greater payment is separate. It is. I think that is where I put at this moment in time. When we purchased the dump truck
Right.
and just have, for lack of better terms,
So
Have
it'll
we
be
gotten a
balanced.
reimbursement from USDA on that?
we haven't heard anything from that yet.
Okay. I'll rattle their cage.
So this won't be a permanent, this will be
No,
balanced
that's not
out
a
later.
permanent number. That's gonna be, once we get the reimbursements and all of that, that will be changed.
And my only other question was the depot seems to have a couple odd issues. The heating fuel, we probably just didn't budget enough. But the water and sewer are way over. Did we not budget enough there?
I don't think we budgeted enough.
Oh, but we raised the rates,
Right,
Right.
right? That's what happened. Okay,
Back on equipment, the first line item, 251,000. That was the purchase of the dump truck.
Right, we have
Okay.
to use certain.
Page on there,
Page 2.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
get reimbursed for some of that money, and when I write the check, I just have to have a line item to put it under. And then once the reimbursements come in, we deduct the amount of reimbursements from that line item.
And we've made a $24,000 payment.
For the dump truck.
Fourth item down.
Correct. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
This lovely line here, 10-7-060.12, the child care contribution, is that
Yes.
July 1st tax?
Also,
Are we paying the entire thing, or did we decide to ask our employees to pay a portion of it?
At this point in time, you're playing the entire thing.
Thank you.
it's on page 2 under
Under
clerk
the
and treasurer.
child,
Yeah.
it's under.
Okay.
each
Yeah,
one of
it's
them.
under it's under every single employee because it's a 1% payroll tax that. Was it 1 or a 0.1? 0.1.
0.1, yeah, and this was something that just came into effect July 1st.
Yeah. So nothing's been paid.
I just want to make sure I was
So
seeing
is
that
there
on there
form?
correctly.
When we do that, you haven't seen the form either, when we do the, employment, that's just gonna be on there, we just gotta put it in, right? We're not deducting it off our employees either.
No, I think my employer's the only one that's doing it. I'm the only employee in Vermont, so they're like, what's that? We're not paying it.
Hmm.
Is it possible to have this sent to us the week prior to our meeting?
Absolutely.
That way we're not wasting our time reviewing it in our meeting. So,
Come in with a
thank you.
question.
Yes.
That would be great. Thank you.
Are we all set with the budget? Okay, any other business?
I have other business.
Okay, just making sure, because I got some too.
Um, I'm just making sure that everybody has the correct telephone number to contact me. I have 2 telephone numbers, and one is used for everything town related, and one is used for my professional and personal life, and those numbers never get crossed. I got a telephone call today on a number that should not be let out, so I don't know if it came from somebody here, outside, but just making sure that if somebody comes and asks for a telephone number for a town employee, for anybody on any of the boards, we err on the side of caution and say, let me take your information and get that to them, as opposed to giving out personal numbers. And my public number, if anyone needs it, is 723-0931, and that number does accept text. It does accept voice calls. It does accept all of those things. Any other numbers for me are
I never asked.
not public.
I've never asked for a phone number to contact the town hall.
Absolutely. Or let me get your information to share with them.
Okay, so
73.
Stacy Rose came to
Okay.
me today, and I guess they're closing the ATV trail on Meadow Street because of the solar.
Right,
Right,
who
going
came
on.
to, I'm sorry, I was,
Stacy.
yeah, yeah.
And so he is meeting with someone from the state to see if they will let them temporarily go on 105 to get to the trail.
From the 5 Mile Square Road.
Right. So it's just so people from town know that that is hopefully gonna be open to the ATVs till this little.
What is
At this time, though, it's closed,
So.
so they can get.
That's right,
uh,
that's right.
so In the field in the meadow.
Yeah.
Will Veve purchased all that property. He's the one that sold a part of it to Dave Ferdinand. The side that he kept where the pit or Bernie Wilson's pit was.
Yeah.
He leased it to Green Lantern Solar, and they are putting a solar field in there. Separate
Is that
from the
separate
one.
from what we talked
That's
about?
separate
Yes.
from the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Got it?
who, do you know who they're serving?
Yeah,
Massachusetts, Connecticut?
they're not serving us.
No.
But however, we did talk to them. I've had conversations when I first found out about it, and I talked to them, and they were supposed to give us a little bit of either a kickback or some of that power to solar, to power. I think it was like enough for our streetlights or something like that.
Thank
That's
you.
correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
okay.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, that's $20,000.
I said, that's a bigger number than you think it is.
Right.
Please don't use the term kickback. That has a real negative connotation where the citizenry is kickback. We're getting kickback. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
A benefit. We're getting a benefit.
There you go.
a gift.
Thank you.
All right, so there, that
Giving
was
us some battery juice.
So, you want to make a motion to go into executive?
You guys have anything?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we're just here.
Good luck. Okay, all right, so, all
Are
right.
we really all done with the other business? 'Cause that's kind of seemed like we were just like
We,
hanging
I
there
know,
on
we
this
just,
solar
actually,
farm.
no, we have to, what?
We have more
Just-
questions?
Did I?
What do you want?
So the ATV club is going down.
They had a trail there and now they can't use it right now because of the construction that's going
All right.
on.
Okay, but they don't need us to take any action.
No, he
Okay.
just wanted us to know, but
That,
we do have to, have a motion for the minutes.
did we need to discuss this before we do that? Because that can't be discussed in, or is there anything that we're taking with this?
It's public record. But I don't,
Okay,
there's nothing.
Were we
to
touching
discuss.
base on
it's
that?
not on here, so I didn't know if we were bringing that
Oh,
up.
yeah, no, is this the court case?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that's a-
printed out copies for
That's a public record.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that's
Yeah.
settled. We're good there.
yeah,
So it
So
was
far.
part of Noah's report,
Yep.
which, he's gonna have to bring up next report, next meeting.
Okay, then I will make a,
Question, that was,
yeah, first,
we're waiting.
well,
Noah.
there's not
if we
any-
want to read it, it's right
Yeah, I
here.
read
That's
it,
the
yeah.
official information.
Right,
the case was
think we're-
dismissed.
Yes, the
Dismissed,
case
it's
was
over,
dismissed.
it's done.
Right, so it's over, and it's-
We're not out of the water.
oh, whatever, for now, it's,
Right, Noah will be checking with the
Yeah.
wetlands people about that,
okay,
checking
right
with
now,
the, with the
that's
who
been-
people?
wetlands.
the wetlands
Wetland?
people. Just to make
Okay.
sure that we're solid with draining our pipes into that area.
Okay, so for the meeting minutes though, I think it should be a matter of meeting minutes that the case has been dismissed.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
we anticipate other action.
I wouldn't put
We
that. one.
don't, what other,
I
we don't
wouldn't put it
anticipate
in the
any
minute.
other action.
No, we
Okay.
don't, it's
We're not
dismissed.
taking action.
Yes, no.
The meeting minutes, the case has been dismissed.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Okay, I will make a motion to go in executive session.
no, we gotta,
No,
we
we're not.
gotta-
I thought you said we were,
motion for the
you
minutes.
nudged me for that 18 times.
Those were sent via email and I don't think there was any
I didn't see
All right.
anything.
So can we have a motion to accept the minutes?
motion to accept the minutes of last select board meeting.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Righty. Okay, now we need a
Now
motion to
you
go into
can vote.
executive.
I will make a motion to go in executive session to discuss personnel related issues with the members of the board present only.
Second.
Good night.
Hold on
Okay.
just a second, because I
I-
need to stop the recording, so hold
Stop
on.
recording.
Oh,
I'll leave you a message.
That,
I did, that's good.
I'll leave you the wording for after it.
Take care, Jim.
Is that okay?
that's fine. Let me just get the time.
Can I go to the restroom before we do this?
And I have got to lock up, so I'm gonna be just